Hello everyone, once again, this is Dr. Barnes and I'm going to walk you through the various stages that the New Testament has gone through in order to get to you as the NIV. As you know, the New Testament is not written like the NIV. NIV is a translation and it's also an interpretation. And I'll demonstrate that to you very easily. Here is one of the earliest texts of the Gospel of John. It's called P means papyrus. Bodmer is the guy who published it. P. Bodmer 66, that's page 66, and it's John 19 as we know it. This is what the New Testament looks like. As you can see, there is a lot of empty space here, and we have to fill that in with other fragments, is what we call them. Little pieces like this right here. We have to put everything together. So this is what people like me look at whenever we are interpreting the New Testament. Now I want to show you something really cool about this particular fragment. We can do two birds with one stone, so to speak, because there's something very special about this document. And it is right here. You can see my mouse pointer. That's called a starogram. And it's interesting because it's taking up several letters of a particular word. And that word is crucify. And you can see it looks kind of like a cross. And that's because that's what it is. And it's what scholars did, scribes did, to show that they were taking up more than one letter. And that's just really cool. What they did was they did the first part of the word. It's staro. So this is an S and a T. And then this is the rest of the body of the word. And then this right here is the ending of the word. Like it's used as a participle, and it has the participle ending on a symbol. So you have the symbol and then like ing. So it's something that I think is very cool. So it's an early scribal symbol that only Christians used, because obviously believe in the crucified Christ. I'm going to went in a little bit closer and see this line here right above it. It means that the scholar, I keep saying scholar, the scribe is indicating to us that there's something he did differently in this text that wasn't in the previous copy. He's calling our attention to the fact that he knows he's using the symbol for the word crucify. So you see the freedom that scholars had, scribes had, whenever they were copying the text. They didn't have to. The Holy Spirit wasn't making them do everything exactly the same as the one before them. Now this is what the New Testament looks like, all neat and nice. But you see all this gibberish down here, where it says 14 and all these symbols. This tells the scholar, it's called an apparatus. This tells me what all the other little fragments that go right here, all the little fragments in variants, like for example, you have starogram here, but some other scribes might have written out the word to crucify all the way, and this gives me the choice down here. So I can decide which text I would rather translate or interpret. So whenever you get to the NIV, for example, it does not read exactly like the Greek reads here, because they might have chosen different texts. There's 35,000 different texts, and it's a matter of choice. And there are logical arguments for choosing one text over another. The first argument is the oldest manuscript, like this Papyrus 66 is the oldest manuscript that we have of John. Therefore, I would follow the older manuscript, and that would be, to me, the authoritative reading and what I would translate if I was a translator. Now, there is another interpretive method that is older. It's what the King James Version uses. It's called the majority text theory. And what that is it is a majority of the copies. Like, say for example, we were an ancient church, like in 300 CE, and we had our own scribes that copied the New Testament. Well, if they copied and copied and copied and copied for generations, you will have a majority reading of a text. In other words, not all of the texts read exactly like this oldest text, but as other people, and especially Christians in different geographical areas, as they started using and copying the same texts, it gains authority because everybody's doing it. And the scribe over in Alexandria knows that whenever he's copying a text, it matches his, and the scribe in Rome is copying the same text. So the geographical distance gives weight to the majority text theory. But that's not so much the consensus among scholars right now. Is the oldest text is usually the most reliable. Now, there are a lot of other little things that you would have to know, little arguments and tricks of logic that you need to know in order to put all this stuff together. But the oldest theory and the majority text theory are the ones that you need to know for. You'll be seeing differences, big differences in translations. Like, for example, the King James Version and the NIV. It's because they use a different textual theory. They understand how these 30,000 texts come together. You know, if you have more than one scholar, they're going to be arguing with each other about how this stuff fits. And Bruce Metzger, the author of your book, is one of the scholars who was key in producing what we're looking at right here. Instead of looking at this all the time, sorry about that, that's a little, instead of looking at stuff like this all the time, we get to look at this, which is a nice, pretty Greek New Testament. Now, you'll see, as we're looking, these are accent marks, okay? It tells you how to pronounce the language. These marks here are critical marks. That tells you that, well, if you were reading Greek, that would tell you that these two words here, this is and this is os. So it would tell you that there are different readings of the text, and other texts would say different things than this reading right here. And so I wanted to show you, if you can see my mouse, see it's 15, go down 1, 2. This is the word that we were looking at, the starogram, that little cross symbol. And I was just telling you that it has an S. That's a Greek S. This is a Greek T, and you can see that's an A and a U, upsilon, and so forth. This is the ending of the word, and that's OSO. And this part of the word, from the T to the R, right here, or the T to the P, is what it looks like in English. This was the symbol, and this is the ending of the participle, and this is the first letter of the word. So staroso, very cool. And it kept, and the scribe kept using that. If you go down 1, 2 more down, you'll see the same word again, that STAUP. That's still that's a participle again, and unless I'm wrong in its future. But that means also to crucify. So, and then you have it down here on 16. Go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have the Estau, and this right here that I'm circling with the mouse is taken up by the symbol. I thought that was really cool that a symbol can be used as exactly as a bunch of letters within the root Greek word, and then you have the participial ending or the verbal ending that words usually have. So you go from this over here on the left to this, and you have all this gibberish down here at the bottom. I'm going to talk about that for a second. Holy cow. I guess I have to just go like this. I'm sorry if that makes you seasick, but this is important. Okay. Now, there's 35,000 manuscripts and fragments of the Greek New Testament. And you look at one usually, one manuscript, which is the text of the NIV. Now, this right here, where it says 14, and all of that stuff tells me everything on the page, where all of the fragments are. And if you look across 14, just stay with me, look all the way across, and you see this weird looking thing, that's a P66, Papyri 66, which is what we looked at on the previous page. And if you look, and there's another one, Papyrus 66, and it tells me there are symbols up above this on the page. Above this on the page that tell me what this means. Like, this could be words left out or words added, or maybe there's one word out of order in the text. But that's what all this gibberish does, and this is what I have to live with on a daily basis. And it's not, well, I mean, it's fun, but it's not fun. So that's that, and that's how we get the longer and shorter ending of Mark. There's differences, and all these little texts have different things, but in the version, one of the versions that does not include the last versions of Mark, there are 3 empty pages. So it looks like the scribe got to that point at the end of Mark, and for whatever reason stopped copying, and there are empty pages, and then Luke begins. So it looks like something was going on in the mind of that scribe, but it's something that New Testament scholars are going to have to argue about from now to the end of time. But you can see P66 shows up all over the place here because that's the earliest text. So it tells people, hey, the earliest text said thus and such, but we chose this different reading. And obviously, what you can do is at the beginning of this New Testament, the Greek New Testament, it has a legend, and it shows you what all the different symbols mean, like what this D and the L and the delta and this funny looking symbol here. I'm on the second line. See my mouse? I'm going down a little bit. That these letters and numbers, they all mean something. And if you ever want a PhD in the New Testament, you'll have to memorize all this stuff. Okay, and this is the pretty NIV. And you see it's all nice and smooth, and somebody's figured out all the Greek grammar stuff for you, and they picked out all the variants. And this is what it looked like beforehand, and this was the original. So that's how you get your New Testament. And I was going to show you, this is where we were a minute ago, 19, and then where's 13? Okay, we can't really... Okay. Here is your king, Pilate said. I can't really read what number I'm on. Here is your king, Pilate said to the Jews, but they shouted, take him away, crucify him. And the word crucify is signified in the earliest manuscript of John as cross. And that's not all, folks. Okay, we've seen that text a couple times. You all know and love this text as Papyrus Bodmer number 66. This here is the last page of the codex that the Gospel of Thomas is in. And you can see it's covered in crosses. It's from Egypt, so there's an Ankh, and there's the PX that is on the Pope's hat. And this is the Gospel of Thomas itself. And if you can see what I'm seeing on the screen, you can easily identify this beautiful little thing here. You see the crossbar here and the rest of the starogram in the Gospel of Thomas. Now this is a Gnostic document. And we have to say Gnostic because we don't know who the Gnostics really were. A lot of people have pretended to know, but we really don't know what was going on back then. But we can tell that they're definitely in the Christian tradition. Nobody else used this symbol, and I thought it was interesting that it's in the Gospel of Thomas. Now we'll see it again. This is the end of the Codex. It's not actually the end of the Gospel of Thomas. I previously thought that, but after I looked at it myself, I saw that it's the very, very last page of the Codex itself. This is a different end of a different writing. Sorry about that. I just wanted to go back to this, and if you can follow my mouse, it's right here. There's the starogram in Crucify. And there's the starogram in the word crucify. Again, it's taking up exactly the same letters. And let's read the passage. Gospel of Thomas. Jesus said, "Whoever does not hate his father and mother cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not hate his brothers and sisters will and carry the cross as I do will not be worthy of me." And that sounds very familiar to us here reading the Gospels right now. So I just wanted to show that to you. I thought that was amazing. I received this information the very first day of my PhD program, and I hope you guys liked it. I also wanted to show you something else here. Sorry I have to move it like this, but yeah, you see this up at the beginning. This is an ancient scribal tradition, and you'll remember from the first lecture where it had the end of the Gospel of Luke, and it said Evangelion kata Lucan, and then there was a space, and then it said Evangelion kata Yohanan. Well, this is all Greek uppercase, and it's kata, which means according to, and then Yohanan, which is John. And in case you're wondering, for those of you who are interested, this is German on the other side. It's a German translation. So I had to learn German too. But this is the... I gotta escape out of here real quick. I don't know... Dadgummit, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just going to scroll up. This is another text of the Gospel of John, and you can see that a lot more is there than Papyrus Bodmer. And I don't know the history behind this particular picture, but it is papyrus, and up at the top this says Gospel, Evangelion, Kata, and then Yohanan is up here at the top of the page. It's an ancient scribal tradition that we hold to today. So let me know if you have any questions. This lecture is more than anything is designed to inform you more on the first lecture and just show you what happens behind music whenever you read the New Testament. Thank you very much. Okay.